Party people in the place, my bass heads, OGs, all my pop lockers out there is out there doing their thing. All you OGs has been popping and waving and tutting and puppeting and animating and boogalooing and strutting and backsliding and front floats and all the names of all the styles, like 5 decades before some of these guys that's doing it now was even born, like me. What's up, people? Sodda Pop Kid coming to you direct. Alright, so, as I posted, we're back in business, boys. Like, I'm back into competing. I only been to 2 shows so far. I was, like, contemplating even competing even this year. I'm not back full-fledged. I know my Ohio base heads, you know, Mike Madison, Sidney Wright, Cornell Hogg, and some of my guys out there is probably like, man, damn, Sodda Pop hasn't been out here in a while, man. He totally mad at us Ohio boys. No, I'm not mad at y'all. I just haven't been as active. But keep in mind, as long as you always keep in mind, I was coming out to Ohio and Columbus and all of that way before I was even on a car stereo team at all. I was solo, riding solo, all by my dammy, competing with nobody to help me, learning by looking at people's bills and asking questions. Remember that? Some of y'all wasn't even in the car audio at that time. You feel me? I was traveling the highways and byways way before I was even on a team at all. And then I joined Team Livewire back in 07. 07, yeah, I joined Team Livewire, remember? Gene Alexander, Eric Alexander, you know, Pee-wee, my man, Dwight Dorsey, remember that? Remember them? And then the team just disappeared one year. Everybody just left, and then it was no more. I remained on it. You know, I was probably the last old school cat that was on the team, and we had got all these new team members that had Team Livewire shirts, and nobody knew each other at shows. Everybody just looking at each other, not introducing themselves or nothing, and then the team just dissipated. Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to get back out to Ohio with all that being said, man, and get back out there. I do plan on coming for sure in August, where there's going to be a double day show, a 2-day show. All right, I forget the guy that's throwing it. I do plan on coming to that one. I would like to come to the Summer Slam one this Sunday. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know for sure. Moving around my storage unit garage, man. The price just went up. It's going to be $280 something now a month, starting in August. Man, I can't wait to just get my own garage. I can't. That's a hurt piece. But anyway, yeah, I need to start coming back. I may come out Sunday. I don't know. Okay. Let me start out with this. I got a brand new windshield put in on Monday, Balloons Glass, brand spanking new, put in on Monday morning. Okay. I got to get the stickers put back on here. All right. My old window, the bottom of it was flexing like the seal rotted out, the polyurethane or whatever rotted out down there, and I'm shocked that it lasts this long. It lasted like 10 or 11 years. The last time I needed a windshield, I had 4 yellow VFL 15s, and I think I was running either Sharks or Audio Pipe Minis or the VFL Minis or something like that. And I split my window doing some testing in front of my house. I split the window. And they put a new one in, and it's lasted this long, and I'm louder, and it lasted this long. So, them guys know what I do. They packed it with polyurethane. They said they packed it with polyurethane. Packed it. Okay, and I got some plans to shrink my cabin. I'm figuring I talked to one of my good basshead buddies, and he talked me into shrinking my cabin. This is a big cabin, y'all. It's a big cabin, okay, and this has been the problem with my score actually really moving forward, like past the 62. You know what I mean? I've used 18s, I've used 15s, I've used 812s on several different occasions. I've tried 1210s, but I didn't keep them in long because I didn't have enough power. But I've used several different builds, several different amps. I'll get to that. And my scores, you know, no matter how much cone area. Now, I haven't went up in crazy power as in subwoofers. Signatures is about the loudest subwoofer I ever had in there, 5,000 watts RMS, 10,000 max. But I only was giving them about 5,800 watts burping. I didn't really go into them speakers as they can withstand. And I ended up selling them. I kind of wish I had 8 of the signature 12s in here right now. I got 8 HDs. HDs has always been my favorite go-to sub. I have, like I told you, hit these with 8K, but I don't want to keep doing that. Those ain't made to be hit with that kind of power. Okay? So I'm going to start doing what my boy said, shrink this cabin up. I know it's probably going to change my frequency and yada, yada, yada. And then I'm going to get a plexiglass window put in front of my window. Okay, to do some shrinking. I need to shrink this cabin and see what happens. That's my next move. All right, to get louder instead of me just buying equipment, changing equipment, buying equipment, changing equipment. All right, these MD8Ks. I'm gonna tell y'all guys what I like about them and what I don't like about them versus Korean. These are Brazilian made. I still got my VFL hybrid 250.4s in there. I've had these in there for at least 4 years, and they've been still going. I have an extra one at home too in case something happens. This is what I don't like about these. I'm gonna tell you what I like about them, what I don't like. Let's start off with the don't likes. Those potentiometers, those volume knobs and all of that, those are cheap as hell. I don't like them. They're flimsy. They don't keep their setting. You know, they're starting to piss me off, man. I set these things at a certain AC volts, and it won't stay there. It won't stay there for no apparent reason. Like the car could not be running. It can be sitting still just like this, and it hops around. It just hops around. And now, a couple of guys told me to use hot glue. They use hot glue guns, and they hot glue them. They set it and they put a drop of hot glue on there, and it holds it in place and won't let it move. All right, that's my next move before I sell them. I talked to some bass heads on Sunday. I went to the Erie show, the Wattsburg Fairgrounds. This past Sunday, I did pretty good, a first, a second, and a third, which takes me up to 730 trophies to date. I told a few of them guys I would be selling these for like $275 a wop, and some cats start putting dibs on them. But I told them once I hit social media and post them up, first come, first serve basis, I'm not going to be trying to sell just one. I want to sell them in pairs or all of them at that price, which is a love shot. The other thing I don't like about these is it has a prosthetic draw. It draws from my... People's been telling me this, but yes, it's true. They draw from my... These actually draw from my battery bank, man. So, in other words, if I'm sitting at 15.8, within a week's time, it's down to like 15.1. Yeah, they do draw. I don't like that. But the good thing about it is that IntelliCharger right there, once this bank goes down into the 14s, that automatically comes on all by itself and charges it up to about 16.8 or so, and then it'll just shut itself off. So all winter long, it just was doing that all winter long, so it kept them charged. You know what I mean? But I don't like the fact that happens. And I've seen tutorials on YouTube where they did bench tests on these amps, and people that do use them, like Parker the Basshead, talk about the downfalls of these. Okay, so that too, and the RCA connections is real like flimsy, that as well. That's why I don't use no real strong grip RCAs on these. I use new concepts on everything else, from the front to the back, even the new concepts over there, which those are the ones I should get for these because they don't grip as hard as the Crystal series. You know, if I put them on here, I'll break those RCAs. I don't like that. But what I do like about them, they really do power. They really are some powerful amps in a small footprint. Real lightweight. They're only about 17 inches long, and I can fit that many in here. You know what I mean? That's what I like about them. But what I don't like about them, they stop me from using them. If they don't, you know, it may stop me from. I hear it's like that with all of the Terra amps, even the 30Ks. I hear it's the same way. I got a boy that has 8 30Ks. So I was told it's all the same, but they're like, use hot glue. So I'm gonna buy a hot glue gun now and try to make these settings if I do decide to come out there to Ohio on Sunday. And then again, I gotta start doing measurements and stuff for that board that under the dashboard as well. But I'm thinking about it. If I can get these things to sit still, then I'll come out to Ohio on Sunday. If not, I won't be until I get rid of these and move to something else. You know what I mean? Like, I really like these amps, man. These things are powerful, man. I've gotten 8K out of these every time I attempted to. But I'm going to need some subs that's going to love that 8K, though. As my scores will start moving then as well. I'm going to need some subs that's going to love that 8K. And I'm going to be talking to Bob, you know, American bass. I'm trying to stick. I have everything American bass in this car except for them. My door speaker's American bass. The VFL 25 250.4 is American bass. The only thing that's not American bass is these. You know what I mean? Bob, Ahuja. I'm gonna tag you in this, man. We need to be in contact, there, partner. Nevertheless, let me get back to the matter at hand. Okay, I got all of that out. Okay, I went back on Saturday night evening when I got off of work. I pulled an all-nighter. That means I did not go to sleep at all. I was on this until the next morning and then a drive to Erie. Okay, let me tell you what all my endeavors was with this nonsense. Because all jokes aside, it doesn't take long to pull out alternators and replace them and then put the charge post and all that back on. It don't take long at all. That should take about a half an hour, maybe an hour at the most. You know what I mean? And they should line all right back up. Let me get back to this bracket again. All right, first and foremost, I come down here with my old 220s. They've been sitting up in the attic since 2018. I got the 320s in 2019, like 3 days before Slamology in 2019. And I had to go through a whole lot of shaving and cutting with them because this is what I did not realize. When I had this bracket put in Ohio, the two guys that did it, one was a teammate, he ain't on the team no more, and another guy was he can fabricate. Okay, this was what happened, and I didn't realize it. One of the guys cut the casing on these alternators. He shaved down the casing. It was not Artius. Artius did not shave down the casing. He was doing one thing, and the other guy was doing another. Well, they shaved the casing. He made the width of the casing shorter to fit inside these brackets. I wish they would not have done that. I wish they would have left it alone. Then I would not have to be modifying every alternator that I get to fit in this casing. Once I got the 320s, they would not fit in the casing. They were too wide and they wouldn't fit in, and I didn't understand why. At this point, I didn't know that the casings was shaved, and I was like, these are the same alternators. Why won't they drop right in the bracket? So I spent hours in trying to cut down those 320s. I mean, to cut down the casings and make them skinnier to fit in. And when I did, and when I got them in there, they were crooked. They wasn't in there straight. And that caused belts to fly off, to shred, and everything else. That's what caused all of that. So I went back after Slam. I drove directly from Slamology straight to Astor Beulah, Ohio. Or Conneaut. Conneaut. Yeah. Straight to Conneaut, Ohio. Straight to Artie's so he can correct what had happened because I was having issues. And so I went out there for him to correct it. Okay, and they ended up shaving down those alternators even more in order to get them to fit in. Okay, and then I had to go from there, which they were straighter, but I still had a little complications that I spent 3 years correcting myself, buying different pulleys, spacing out the pulleys, buying different belts until I eyeball spaced it out correctly. So let me tell you what happened before Sunday. I went to put these 220s back and I wanted to see if they still worked, what the actual difference between them and the 320s actually were, because I was told that the 220s are underrated 270s actually. When I tried to buy new alternators before I bought them 320s, I remember Jonathan Patrick telling me that the 270s was going to do no better than the 220s that I already had, which was these. Okay, so with that being said, I wanted to see what the difference between them actually was with voltage, competing with them, having the smaller pulleys on these as well as having the smaller pulleys on them. Okay, and I went to put these back in and some of them wouldn't fit. Why? Because they were too wide. So y'all get everything that I just said. So I pulled an all-nighter. I was telling my people, it's not going to be all night. They said fit right in. And I wanted to see if they was going to fit right in and bolt right in. So I ended up taking them home and shaving them. Shaving the ears. I shaved them little humps they had on completely off, completely. And I'm technically going to have to do that with the 320s too. They're still like a little bit. They'll fit right back in here because they came out of here. But I want to cut them to make sure they all line up all the same when I go back in here. Now I had to shave them to the point to where I do got to put some spacers or washers behind them. But that's okay. As long as I can push them all forward and they all line up with them lines, see? As long as they all line up, man, I'll deal with putting spacers behind them. That's small things to a giant. But I had to do that. That took time. And then I got down here and I had to mess around with them and space out. See, I had to put how many shims I had to put behind these pulleys, bro. Those are 8 rib wide pulleys. You know why I had to do that? Because I came to the conclusion that this bracket is crooked. This bracket is crooked. This bracket is hella crooked. With all the alternators off, this part down here bends. It bends that way. It like you could see it twisting. It's crooked, man. That's why these two don't line up exactly with them two. They don't technically line up with them two. They don't. Because I wouldn't have to put that many shims in the front of them to space it out. You know what I mean? Then I turned around and went and brought another 8 rib pulley down there. See that one with the grooves in it? That's 8 rib too. Because I had a 6 rib one down there. I had to get 8 rib pulleys. And I tried to see if they made 10 rib pulleys for these Dodge alternators. These are Dodge Diesel Cummins large case. And I was told, no, they don't. With a place I went to can't get 10 rib. I'm going to have to get 10 rib to compromise. That's compromising. I'm surprised it's home with them shims, that many shims on there. I don't know why they don't make those rotor posts longer. There's only one shim behind these ones here, just one. Like there should be there. And yeah, I had the little pulleys on there. I put the big ones back on these 220s because they idle, you know, at idle they turn faster anyway because they're not 320s. And this is an old school car. If I needed to, all I gotta do is turn the idle speed up on my carburetor to speed them up if I wanted them speeded up anyway. Newer model cars can't do that. Okay. Yeah, so I put the big ones back on to compromise belt size and belt tightness in order 2, stop the chirping, which I was told at the Wattsburg competition that the electric water pump that I got in there is what may be causing it. One of my teammates was like, man, with that electric water pump, when you start it up, it has some type of draw or something that may be causing that chirping that I can't get rid of all of a sudden. It did not do that when I had the manual water pump in at all. It never chirped at all. Okay, so I put the bigger pulleys back on to compromise, putting a bigger belt on to get more surface wrap. You know, they got them 3.5-inch pulleys there, and the 3.5-inch ones down there, and that's a 3.5, and those were littler, and I had a smaller belt, so I put on bigger ones and try to get more tightening surface out of these. Yeah, and I had a little bit of issues, and then when I finally got done doing all of this stuff, it was like 7:30 in the morning. So I was on this thing from like 7-something at night to 7-something in the morning, straight. And when I came outside, it was light outside, and I had planned to leave to go to the competition at 8 in the morning, but I threw that all off. And then I was like, well, let me just drive this onto the house, take a shower, change my clothes, stop at Advanced Auto Parts, and just drive out to Erie. On the way down the hill, the belt shredded. So it actually, I call that, it moved forward. What do you call that? It crawled forward. So something was a little bit off to make it creep forward and shred. It shredded as I got to the bottom of the hill. I turned around and came back. I had an extra belt, thank God. And then I looked, I like really paid attention. I had to step a couple pulleys forward, yada, 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 and then I was good. And that held me back. Then I didn't get to leave until a little after 10. So it held me back. Boom. I'm gonna leave the 220s in here for a little while. I've been taking them, getting them checked down at the alternator shop, and even though I'm getting squeaking, they're telling me it's brush squeak. And all of that, you know, nothing's wrong with them. And I did good with these at the contest regardless. So I don't know what the difference is between these 220s and my 320s. I don't really know. In my case, I got a C-Max lithium back there, not 190 amp hour, which it did good anyway. Like the voltage stays up anyway. Now when I go and put this in idle, I also get to see them. When I go and drop this in idle and it goes down, it drops a couple temps. That's what may happen. Sitting at a stop sign or a light, I may see the difference then. Okay, with the smaller pulleys on them. But like I said, I'm trying to get rid of this chirping. And it's chirping more with these 220s on it than it did with the 320s on it. I thought that the 320s was putting more stress on my motor is what I thought, because it doesn't put out the same much at idle as these do at idle. It just, the 320s do more at higher RPMs. So I thought it was like putting tension on my motor is another reason why I put these in, to see if these would take less tension off, but it doesn't. These squeal even more. You know, I would remove that electric water pump for that sake if this water pump wasn't keeping this engine cooler. It keeps it cooler. It does that. It does do that. But that's the reason why I leave it in, because it's summer and it does keep it cooler. It does do its job. It's just, you know, that's the reason. So that's that. You know what I mean? Like I told you, I was designing a new bracket, but I don't weld. But another basehead friend who's actually a mechanic said, man, why don't you just bolt everything together? And that can happen, except for the power steering pump. I'd have to get those bends and stuff done by Mike Sparing. And I know it's not going to take him forever just to do that on the water pump. I mean, my fault, on the power steering pump. Get him to do the bends. So the power steering pump can have its own standalone bracket. And maybe, just maybe, I can bolt together the alternator stuff. You know, I'll do all the cuts and buy all the metal And all the people had to do was weld and cats are that damn lazy. Unbelievable. I just never, me being 59 years old, man, never seen so many younger dudes so damn lazy, dude. I swear. But other than that, that's that. So I got all of this said in 25 good minutes. Like I said, I'm going to post this up on YouTube. I am going to put it on Facebook so I can get some feedback from my basshead buddies. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, man. If I design the bracket and make sure they can fit inside of it and all of that, who the hell wants to do the welds? Oh, my goodness. For goodness sakes. For goodness sakes, dude. Yeah, so that's that, y'all. Like I said, one more time, I may be getting rid of these MDAKs, and they're in good condition. There's just stuff I don't like about them. And I'm going to try this hot glue thing, and according to the guys that use it, it can pick right off. You can pick it right off with your finger. It'll just hold stuff in place, and the guy at the Washburn competition, he told me too, he's like, man, he just pops right off. He showed me where he hot glued his tear amp, just put a drop of hot glue on there, and bam. So I'm going to attempt that. Okay. Now here it dries pretty quick. But these amps do not, the potentiometers do not move. They stay set where they set. They stay set where they're set. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. $275 each if I get rid of these. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Over and out. Sodda Pop Kid. Peace.